So how did you start living your life differently from this point? How did you start being more intentional to achieve this goal of being a woman of success?
Well, I wrote an essay that it was, I mean, I learned enough basic stuff in high school. I paid attention enough to have, decent writing skills. I wrote a letter, I wrote an essay to get into UC Santa Cruz, and I really put my heart in it. I mean, I talked about my family, my upbringing. I talked about coming out at 15. I talked about the hardship I had with this group of friends. There was this period of time when my parents actually kicked me out of my house, and I ended up living with my grandparents. So um, I poured enough into it that I think it made me interesting enough to get accepted. And the reason I chose Santa Cruz is because, growing up in LA, I'd spent a lot of time at the beach. We had a house in Santa Barbara growing up. And so I spent a lot of time at the beach. I had researched UC Santa Cruz, and it was kind of like a cool hippie school with smart people, but it wasn't as hard to get in as Berkeley. And I got in.
So I want to dissect that a little bit because I think there's so much power in what you just shared with us. And that's the power of vulnerability, the power of complete, utter transparency. What feels like in the moment at your own demise, but it's so empowering. First it's empowering to admit like who you are, being honest with yourself, right? But then to take that honesty and to share that with other people, the things that you were might maybe be insecure about earlier in life, right? And coming out.
Oh yeah.
That's how you gain trust. And we can take this lesson and we can do the same thing in our own businesses with our customers, right? With our employees, and this place of
Oh
complete
yeah.
vulnerability. And you got into this great school because of that. You instantly are going to suck people in when you get that open, that transparent, that vulnerable. It's such a powerful tool when done right. And it has to be real.
Yeah.
Do you want to dissect that a little bit more?
So powerful. And to be honest, something I really wish I had understood more a lot earlier. I think, gosh, I mean, the power of vulnerability, the willingness to utilize the things that maybe made you fearful or things that you thought were weaknesses when you were young, harnessing those things into what makes you who you are and being willing to express those things. I mean, for me, it's when people say, what lesson do you wish you had learned earlier in life? 100% that would be it for me. Just understanding that those things that made you weak or fearful before actually make you an interesting human.
Right. And I think vulnerability kind of goes hand in hand with self-awareness, because you have to
Yeah.
be very
Yeah.
self-aware to be vulnerable. You
Yes.
have to know, and very few people are self-aware. I think something like a small percentage of people who think they're self-aware are actually self-aware, which is just kind of funny. So